Well, welcome back to Chop's Garage, everyone. I think you all knew it was going to happen. The Kia Sportage from the last video. I said I was going to sell it, possibly with the wheels as they are. All the comments, I think you all knew I wouldn't be able to leave well enough alone. I don't have the margin in this one to get them restored by somebody else. So what we're going to do is try and sand all the lacquer off and then just give it a coating of lacquer and see if we can give it a decent finish. Won't be the same as diamond cut, but will look okay. If it doesn't come out okay, we'll just spray the whole wheel silver and just have silver wheels. But I would kind of like to leave the black accents if possible. It's time consuming, but it's going to make the car sell that much quicker. There are other cars I need to be cracking on with. But anyway, let's just get going. So wheel off probably could have been done on the car, but it's going to be easier getting it done off. This is going to take quite a bit of sanding back. We've got to get all this lacquer off. Luckily, if we stay flat, we shouldn't touch these black areas. Should be okay on that front, but again, if we do, we'll just spray the whole wheel silver. I don't think we'll go with the whole wheel black. That'd look a bit too much. You can see that we won't get the ridging of the diamond cutting, but we should be able to get enough of a look to get a similar sort of look anyway. I'll put a link to everything I use in my Amazon shop. I'll put a link to that in the description down below, so if you're going to tackle this yourself or you're going to do some wheel refurbs, you can get something, a similar setup. I've got my little cheap Ginor sander on the go. We're going to go in with some 180 sandpaper first, with the hard pad on the bottom because I want to stay flat. If I use a soft pad, it could dig in a little bit. With the hard pad, I can just stay level. Right guys, I was losing the wheel there to try and use 180 to get all the lacquer off because it was super thick. I need to get it all off around the edges here as well. And then I had a bit of a brainwave. Why not use my paint removing pad on my grinder? I've never done that before on these, and I got so excited about the idea I forgot to record it for you. But this is literally now taking me 5 minutes to strip all of it off, and it almost gives it like a brushed aluminium finish afterwards. Look at that. I'm not sure that finish is quite good enough to lacquer to, so I probably will go over with like a 320, something like that, a 400. Well, I'm tempted not to because I kind of like that finish. I'm almost tempted to put lacquer on it and see how it looks. Because, like I say, it is almost like brushed aluminium, isn't it? I really quite like that. Yeah, difficult one. I don't know what to do now. It's because it's got a really good shine to it as well, isn't it? Let's give it a clean up. So we've got Craig from Custom Valets with us. He's doing the Suzuki Swift, and I've had a second opinion on the wheels, and he thinks they look great as they are without going any further. And I have to say I agree. I really do like the finish. So I've cleaned them all off. Then I've used that disc again to go in the same direction up each spoke to try and make them look really uniform. Obviously we put the cards in to mask off the tyre a bit, but as we're only putting clear lacquer on, it's not the end of the world if it gets over the tyres a little bit. We're using 2K lacquer to obviously make sure it's super hard. I'm going to warm the paint up a bit, probably warm the alloy up a little bit as well, perhaps with the heat gun, help it take. Very light dust coat at first to make sure we've got something really tacky for it to take to. Obviously I've gone round and keyed up all the spokes in between the black as well to improve the chance of it taking to that, and we'll see how this looks. If it comes out okay, we know exactly what we're doing for the rest of the wheels, although this time I will show you how that disc works on stripping it off rather than just telling you how well it worked. Right, it's getting a little dark, but I'll quickly show you with this wheel how we did it. So, fibre disc, paint stripping disc on the grinder. I've got my mask on and my ear defenders, and let's show you how it goes if I had it power on. And there you have it. You see it leaves a sort of brushed aluminium type finish. So what I've been doing is, when I got it all off, I give it one last finish where I just go in one direction like that to give it a more even finish. It's not obviously as good as diamond cut, but you can see this is going to take about 5 minutes to strip the wheel, 5 minutes cleaning it down, 5 minutes spraying it with lacquer, obviously in between, you know, 5 minutes across 2 coats, and then it's ready to go. So it's an affordable tart up for the car that the customer's not going to have to pay a load more. I'm still going to be able to sell the car under Auto Trader and do this refurb. So as with the other wheel, key up all the black areas, wash it back down again, and then final thing, give it a going over with the paint removing disc in the same direction all the way around the spokes to try and give it an even finish. Then give it one more clean over again, and now I'm going to hit it with the heat gun, dry all the moisture out of it, then give it a degrease, and then it'll be ready for paint like the other one. So there we have it, guys. Once again, I've run out of light. It's pouring with rain outside. I wanted to take the car out and do a photo shoot on it, but it's no good, so I'll have to wait till tomorrow. All the wheels are back on again now. So the process again was strip them with the fibre wheel on the disc, then clean it all down, then key up all the black areas with the scuff pad. Make sure they're clean. Clean it all down with So process again. Get your fibre wheel on your grinder. Take it all off, making sure you wear a mask and eye protection, of course. Get it all off, staying flat to the wheel so you don't touch these black areas. Just keep it nice and level. Once that's been done, clean the wheel off completely again. Use your isopole to make sure that you've got none of the silicons or anything left on there. You could use white spirits as well, I guess. Get that all really clean. I was using the heat gun to dry the wheel off as well as make sure all the water in between the wheel and the tyre wasn't sitting there and was going to spray out when we did the paint job on it. Make sure it's ultra clean, and then we put the playing cards around the outside just to protect the tyre from the lacquer. Although we're using clear stuff, it's not such a big deal, is it? And then a dust coat of the lacquer over the top, which I warm the can up. Let the dust coat go off for about 10 minutes. Make sure it's a really light coat, because what we're trying to do is always create a textured surface for your later lacquer to take to. And then 2 coats of the lacquer, which is heavier, more of, you know, the last one being a bit of a flow coat where you let it get quite wet, but obviously without it dripping. Obviously before we did that, we did actually, sorry, I missed a step, which is use the scuff pad to key in all the black areas. Where you've done the fibre pad on the wheel here, that'll be a nicely keyed surface, but all this obviously where we weren't going in was still smooth, so we need to use a scuff pad to get in there, scuff all that up so the lacquer would stick there. So that dust coat, then the 2 heavier coats, and then jobs are good. And like I say, is it perfect? No, if you get up close you can see it's got more of a textured surface than diamond cutting, but it looks very similar, and obviously it looks a million times better than the lacquer peeled wheels. Oh, I missed one more step off, didn't I? Sorry. One more step is, before I lacquered them, I had the fibre wheel and went in the same direction on the wheels and all the spokes. Obviously when I was getting it off first I was going all over the place, but the before putting the dust coat of the lacquer on, I went in this one direction with the fibre wheel on the grinder to make sure that all the lines sort of had a kind of symmetry to them. Then obviously I needed to clean it off again then before putting the dust coat of lacquer on and putting heavier coats on. A very quick process though. Each wheel probably only took 20 minutes as opposed to probably about an hour if I was sanding away like a mad thing. But I think like I said, we all knew I was going to have to do it in the end. I can ask full price for the car now, and I don't see why I should be chipped, to be honest. We did a big service on it. I think the service was £300 or so. Did the advisory free MOT on it, so it's got advisory free MOT, it's got a fresh service on it. We've refurbished the alloys, the thing's had a hell of a valet. The paintwork's fantastic on it, the interior's fantastic. There's not really anything to knock it for at all. It's the right spec, it's got the panoramic roofs, it's got the sat nav. So I will ask slightly less than Auto Trader to bring it down to the next 999, but watch and see. Let's see how fast it sells, guys. Fingers crossed it's quick. And yeah, well, tune into the next one and see how quickly it does sell. Oh, as mentioned in the previous videos, I now have my Amazon shop. I'll put a link down below. It's got all the products I use to do this process. So if you do need to do any alloys yourself, I would probably do the same process, to be honest, if you were planning on completely painting the wheels. What you could have done differently is just use the fibre wheel to take all of the loose paint off and then just scuff the entire wheel, and then you could have done a complete colour change. But I didn't want to go full black on these. I wanted as near to factory as possible. But yeah, link to that Amazon shop down below has all the products I use for cleaning and prepping the cars.